And this is Comic Picks by the Glick.
And I'm your host, Jason Glick. Hey, and this week, last week I told you guys that I was going to be talking about a thing known as global manga this time, but then something else came up, and I realized that, I really wanted to talk about this instead. So global manga is still on the front burner to be talked about at some point, but just not this time. So this time, I'm going back to the well of material that is Cosmic Marvel to talk about their some of their recent cosmic crossovers. Now, I talked about Annihilation last year, and since then I've read the follow-up crossover Annihilation Conquest, and that was all right. It wasn't quite as smashing as the first one, but still good enough to read over 2 volumes. But recently, I was finally nagged or read into submission by a buddy of mine who just eats his stuff up, loves it to death, and I went and picked up the War of Kings crossover books. Now, War of Kings basically, I have to admit, a lot of the stuff isn't really for the if you like your Marvel readings like continuity light, you're probably going to have issues with this, because this draws in from a lot of recent Marvel stuff. Let alone, aside from the previous Annihilation crossovers, you've also got it ties in directly to the Secret Invasion crossover as well, because the setup is that the Inhumans, the mutant race that were created by the Kree aliens, serve as their war force. They've been living on the moon, and their leader Black Bolt was recently replaced by a Skrull. Now that stuff's been sorted out, but now they realize, okay, we can't just be sitting here letting threats come to us. We have to go and take the fight to them. So what do? They go and wipe out the rest of the Skrull and take over the Kree. I'm saying that they're going to lead them to their genetic destiny. Okay, that's great, but in the process of doing so, they also attack several Shi'ar cruisers that get in the way. So and this gives the Shi'ar's Emperor Vulcan from the X-Men series all the reason he needs to just go and start an interstellar war. Now, if you look at this, and you listen to me say this, and you go what? Who are these people? What does this mean? It's like I said, it's probably not going to be for you, but hey, if you like Cosmic Marvel stuff, then you're probably going to enjoy this stuff. Even though the execution of the War of Kings crossover has a few good examples of how not to do this stuff. Now, the main miniseries is good because writers and masterminds for all this stuff, Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, they make the smart move of not focusing on the leaders of the Inhumans and the Shi'ar by focusing on some of their supporting characters. You get most of the Inhumans story is told through the story of Crystal. She's one of the peace-loving members of the Inhumans who doesn't want the fighting to go on, while the Shi'ar side is told through Gladiator, the head of the Imperial Guard, who was duty-bound to obey the will of the Shi'ar Emperor. Now, these people do a good job of getting inside the heads of the respective people, giving a more grounded view of this. Because Black Bolt is not the most expressive character at any times, because his power just requires him to be silent most of the time. Because whenever he speaks, he'll rip you apart with his voice. And Vulcan is a one-dimensional psychopath. He's intended to be a one-dimensional psychopath, but he's not the kind of guy that you want to build a epic crossover around. Now the miniseries does a good job of setting up a big epic space battle. Lots of fights. Lots of people die. It's lives are ruined, and plots are twisted. Everything. It does a good job. I can't say it's quite as good as the previous crossovers. Because it's clear that Abnett and Lanning have a plan here. They know where they're going here, and they're steering you, and they're steering the ship with the surest of hands. But the problem is that while the War of Kings miniseries is meant as kind of the through line for all this, basically you just read this and you're going to know where you're going. It doesn't come off that way in practice, because they release a lot of supplemental material around this, to the point where when the War of Kings hardcover collects everything, when it was released in paperback, it was split up into 2 volumes. Now, while the main War of Kings volume collects the miniseries and the bookend issues, the second volume also collects like some pretty smashingly relevant stuff. I mean, okay, like the stuff like the Savage Roll to Scar, it's okay. I mean, you get one of the members of the Inhumans, one of the Shi'ar Guard, trapped on a planet where the Hulk's son is, and they have to learn to work together or die alone, and that's fun, but it's peripheral to the overall storyline. Then you got some miniseries about the supporting cast in the crossover, and then you get the 6 issues of Darkhawk. Now, Darkhawk, I've only familiar with this guy through his participation in Excelsior, the support group for former teen superheroes in Brian Vaughn's run on Runaways. Now, apparently here he's like in these miniseries, 2 miniseries actually, 6 issues. Abnett Lanning recast Darkhawk as not just like an angry guy who found a magic gem that gives him a special suit of armor. No, apparently he's heir to the Order of Talent. The Order of Talents. Like they're a secret space society which is dedicated to overseeing the safety of the safety and growth of the Shi'ar Empire. Problem is that these are the guys who kind of define the terms ends justify the means, and as soon as Darkhawk finds this out, his personality is rapidly shunted aside to let the main crystal's personality come out and take over his body. Now, I have to admit, I like what Abnett Lanning do with this. I mean, it takes some stuff that's been I guess has been part of the character. Like modus operandi for years. I mean, his short temper, his anger, his confusion over all this stuff, and basically recast it in hey, you're part of something much, much larger. Problem is, you're also evil as well, and I think that works really well for the most part. Now, but the problem is that at one point there is a crucial moment in the crossover where that involves Darkhawk. Now, I can't say exactly what it is. Let me just say it involves him killing someone very important. And if you had not read the issues of Darkhawk, you're gonna kind of wondering like what's going on here. I mean, this adds a lot to the moment, but you're just gonna be it's kind of lacking when you read it in the context of the miniseries at large. So assuming you pick up both volumes, hey, you're set. But otherwise, well, you're going to have some problems here. But it's only going to get worse if you don't also read the Guardians of the Galaxy tie-in as well. Because, now, Guardians of the Galaxy, that's Abnett Lanning's cosmic super team. Involves Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Drax the Destroyer, Quasar, and a bunch of other superheroes. Cosmic superheroes as well. Like when they're not trying to when they're not turning against each other, it's like they're trying to save the universe the best way they can. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy is listed as having 2 War of Kings tie-in books. Let me just say that only the second one is specifically relevant to the crossover. This is the one where Star-Lord divides the team in 2. One team goes to see the Inhumans, the other one goes to see Vulcan the Shi'ar. Just to say, hey, you know what? If you keep fighting, the universe is going to tear into. Like space-time is very vulnerable right now. At the moment, after the wake of the Annihilation Wars. So please stop fighting. Naturally, that doesn't go nearly as well as he hopes, and they wind up taking captives from the Inhumans. And Vulcan, well, he just knocks the shit out of the out of their team, and they wind up, and the people who are alive still wind up looking for the Starjammers to save Lilandra, former Empress of the Shi'ar Empire. And the problem is, if you hadn't read that tie-in, you would be lost or very surprised when the Guardians of the Galaxy showed up in the middle of the War of Kings miniseries proper. And then there's also the bit about how the end result of this crossover, the Fault, a puncture wound in space-time. Well, there's a lot of supplemental material about that about its formation, as well as the transformation of one of its primary characters, in the Guardians of the Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy tie-in issues. And like I said, if you hadn't read this, you're probably gonna be lost. And well, and I'll admit that Annette Lanning are generally really good about not making this very continuity heavy. I mean, like, you can generally a lot of times when you're reading Guardians of the Galaxy, you can just suss out a lot of the general details just by like how the characters are acting or in the dialogue. The bit about Adam Warlock and his transformation into the Magus. If I had not had a friend of mine tell me that, the Magus is his future self that he was going to turn into, but he had deleted it, he had changed the timeline to avoid that fate, but now he's regrafting that timeline that he became the Magus in order to stave off the growth of the Fault, I would not have any fucking idea what was going on right there. So really, I mean, it's painful. I mean, it's like if I hadn't known this, then it's like I would just be like at a loss. It'd just be like, I'd be pissed, frankly. But fortunately, because I do have someone on hand to explain all this stuff to me, it works. And to be honest, that's generally not a good sign. Like when you're reading a crossover for your new, for the uninitiated. But so if you've been reading all this stuff, then yeah, it holds together. Generally well. Even though I have to admit that this is probably this is probably like the low end as far as cosmic crossovers go, just because of the issues as far as schedule, where they parcel out the information over the course of this series. Those of you wondering, my cosmic crossover ranking goes from top to bottom: Central Corps War, Annihilation, Conquest, Blackest Night, Realm of Kings, and then War of Kings. All right. Now, before I go on to the Realm of Kings stuff, let me just say that if you've been paying attention to the blog part of the site, you'll notice you might mention that I was going to go ahead and order the next 2 volumes of Nova. Now, Nova's tie-in to War of Kings works really, really well. I mean, Annette Lanning just uses as a nice jumping-off point to resolve the questions regarding Nova's fate now that he's no longer part of the Corps, and just exactly what was going on with the World Line and why he's been recruiting all these new people. And it also shows you that it also sets up the the Corps' direct involvement with the War of Kings, and just how Nova fears that throwing a bunch of untested recruiting all these people in a short amount of time and then throwing them at the Shi'ar Imperial Guard, not a good idea. But still, it's it works as it also it sets up, because it reestablishes Nova's place in the Corps and gives him a really good reason to get involved with the crossover. Also gives him some very nice scenes with Blastar as he tries to negotiate a peaceful withdrawal from the Negative Zone warlords path of conquest, and it gives him some good moments with the new cast, including his brother Robbie Ryder. Now that's a lot. It's a lot of fun, and hey, it's if you just wanted to read the Nova tie-in issues without reading the War of Kings crossover, you can do that too. Now, moving on to the follow-up, Realm of Kings. Realm of Kings isn't really a miniseries. It's more like an initiative set up kind of like the Marvel's Initiative and Dark Reign crossovers. It's like a branding. So basically, now there's this puncture wound in space-time. What's everyone going to do about it? Now, I picked up the hardcover because Amazon was selling it for 49% off, and that's a good deal by anyone's standards. Plus, it was cheaper than the forthcoming trade paperback. So, now it starts off with the setup issue that basically has Quasar going into exploring the Fault and find out where this dimension leads. Now, it leads to a dimension that has come to be charmingly known as the Cancerverse. The best description I can give to this place is imagine the Marvel Universe as created by H.P. Lovecraft. Lots of very nasty, demonic-looking takes on our familiar heroes like Captain America, Iron Man, Miss Marvel, and Quasar himself, and it's it does have a good horror vibe, as thanks to the art by Leonardo Manco for the Cancerverse sections. It gives you the feeling that Quasar is all alone, and he might not make it out of this. It's a good setup, and the miniseries that follow are generally pretty good. The Realm of Kings Inhumans miniseries sets up shows us with what things are like with the Inhumans now now ruling the Kree post War of Kings, and just try and find ways to set up to strengthen their rule and help and win the trust of the Kree, win other Kree subjects. Now, as Crystal and her husband Ronan the Accuser, they find out that there's actually something sinister going on these recent attacks. That there's actually a more sinister hand guiding these attacks. That they're actually planned in a way to have the Kree gain the Inhumans' trust. Now, it's from Wellington Aves, and that's up for some grip that he does. Then you've the Imperial Guard miniseries, which has the Imperial Guard taking over the teaming up with the Starjammers to explore the Vault, and finding out that there's some very, very nasty creatures in there, including some rather disgusting takes on the X-Men, and just exploring it for the new Shi'ar Emperor. Now, don't really want to give too much away, but let's just say that Black Bolt and Vulcan, well, I'm fairly certain they're not entirely dead. They'll be back at some point. But I want to talk about this because the new status quo is that Gladiator is now the new Emperor of the Shi'ar, and I like this setup because he's a guy who's been serving under crazy or mad emperors for years, and now he's the one running the show, and he finds out that damn it, I don't want this at all. I just want to be out there fighting amongst my fellow men, but I've got to be like this in order for the sake of the Imperium. So it's a good take on the character, and I like where they're going, where they go with this. And in the end, these two miniseries eventually come together at the end to show you that they have to team up in order to deal with this Cancerverse menace. Now, there's a third miniseries in the Realm of Kings hardcover that deals with the Hulk's other evil son, Hiro Kala, and there's no way around this. This is fucking terrible. It basically involves him being summoned to the Microverse to fulfill some prophecy relating to his dad and the other Micronauts really showing up to stop him or something. It's utterly impenetrable. I can't really care about these characters. I mean, a lot of these. I just don't know much about. I don't know much about Hulk's son. I don't know anything about the Micronauts, except for the fact that Warren Ellis. I can't take the Micronauts seriously because years ago, in his great collection of articles, Coming Alone, Warren Ellis said, "No, you." When he's talking about the general comic book populace, it's no, you can't be trusted to come to save the comics history. Because whenever someone asks you what you want, you always have to bring back the fucking Micronauts. Yeah, so whenever someone talks about the Micronauts, I always think of what Warren Ellis says there, and yeah, if this is what we get for bringing back the Micronauts, I say fuck them, and just leave it. So hey, if you buy the Realm of Kings crossover, just feel free to skip the tie-in miniseries. It's generally not terrible. It's just generally pretty terrible. Now, I do appreciate the bit of back matter at the end where that has the creators talking about about what the Vault is meant to be. Because in addition to being a portal to the Cancerverse, it's also a portal to allow to tie into just about any bit of Marvel continuity ever. So if you want to do stuff like bring back the Micronauts, then you can do that. Of course, if you also want to do crazy stuff like set things in a parallel no-time dimension and bring back Nova's former arch enemy, the Sphinx, and his younger and older selves, and they fight together, then you can do that too. Because hey, that's the subject of Nova's tie-in to War of Kings. To Realm of Kings, where he first he meets up with a long time lost member of the Nova Corps, who's also fighting off a crazy guy named Ronan Starstalker and a bunch of mindless ones from somewhere that just drifted in from the Vault. Now it's cool because this new guy winds up joining the Corps and becomes their drill sergeant. He's a great character, and then you get to pick up. Then Nova picks up on the a bit about the continuity about Darkhawk from the War of Kings, because now that this is after Darkhawk's actions in War of Kings. He's become public enemy number 1, and makes things difficult for Nova because hey, they used to fight together on the New Warriors team. So it's a good like bit of fugitive style plotting where Nova has to bring it. Actually, I'm bringing his friend, but that thing that gets quickly shunted aside after they're both sucked into the fault, and they wind up teaming up with time stranded versions of Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, Black Bolt, and Nova's old girlfriend Namorita. And it turns out that Nova's former arch enemy, the Sphinx, is now here, and he's using this space to try and regenerate himself. But he's also trying to convince one of his former younger versions, because apparently this guy travels through time a lot, so he's able to meet up with younger versions of himself. It's like, hey, please stop doing this before you ruin your health and wind up like I am right now. So like the younger version thinks his older version's a douche, and basically so they fight. And so like, hey, like it's fighting, it's cool. Nova is a superhero book at heart, and this volume's a good example of like good traditional superhero fun the way Mom used to make, And the final issue basically ends with a nice send off as they pick up on the Realm of King stuff as Nova takes on the evil Quasar, and then rides off to join the rest of the crossover. Now, based on the like I said, the Realm of King stuff has been good. I haven't read the Guardians of the Galaxy tie-in yet because it hasn't come out in softcover. So once that comes out, I'll be looking forward to it just because it's supposed to be leading to Abnett Landing's next main storyline, the Thanos Imperative. Now, I have higher expectations than that compared to the other ones because this is just going to be 7 issues, like a prologue and a 6-issue miniseries. So they've got a much more focused approach to this, and that's generally what I think their efforts need, because like with War of Kings, trying to tell this over a series, like a core mini series, like tie-ins to two different series, and well as several spin-off issues, it was just a mess for the most part. I mean, yeah, it's like it reads better it reads a little better in collected edition, but there's still a lot of issues that they need to work on. I mean, I have to admit that I can understand why they did this, because just like the comics marketplace is just not like a healthy place where you can just say, oh, here's the here's our thing. You can just go on and buy now. They have to like make this important. They have to just make everything has to be an event in order to get people to buy it. And I just think that like with everything that all these event stuff, it's just gonna like I look at this stuff that's in the solicitation like, oh, you've got the Heroic Age, like the Chaos War, like all these events, and it's just kind of like, well, it's important now. So it just gets ridiculous, but but it's going to be a necessity of the marketplace, and it's just getting out of hand. But well, I have to admit, I do like the gist of where of what Abnett Landing have cooked up with this stuff. Even though I have to admit, it's really not for the casual reader at all. Like if you like Marvel Cosmic stuff, it's definitely worth a read, but you're generally have to be pretty well versed in the continuity in order to pick up on a lot of the like subtle a lot of the references they do. So okay, I mean, buy at your own risk, or just look for it on discount. But overall, it's okay. It's like I talked about last year, Annihilation or the Sinestro Corps War. There's still probably like the high end of the cosmic stuff. The stuff, if you read those and you still got an itch, it'll scratch it, but might draw blood as well. All right, so not sure what I'll be talking about next time. Maybe I'll get back to global manga, but we'll see. Other than that, people, call it a night. Laters.